The afternoon sun poured through the tall windows of Bella Vista as I stepped inside, smoothing down my navy dress. I had bought it just for today, Dad's 60th birthday. My chest felt tight with hope, the kind that still believed maybe this time would be different. Maybe today they would finally see me. Mom stood near the host stand, wearing pearls and that smile she saved for judging people. She spotted me and her eyes traveled from my shoes to my hair. Her lips curled. "Well, look who showed up," she said loudly. Too loudly. "I didn't think you could afford a place like this, Sophia." The words hit me like a slap. Heat rushed to my face. A couple at a nearby table looked over. Derek, my brother, snickered behind his phone. Dad shifted his weight, but said nothing. He never did. A young server approached, glancing between us. "Table for 4?" he asked, looking directly at Mom. She nodded like a queen. The server didn't even look at me. I was invisible again. Just like always. Then I heard heels clicking fast across the marble floor. "Miss Rivera?" Claudia, my restaurant manager, rushed over with wide eyes. Her face was flushed. "Miss Rivera, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize you'd arrived. Your usual table is ready. Or would you prefer the private room?" The air went still. Mom's smile froze. Derek's phone dropped an inch. Dad's eyebrows lifted slightly, the first real expression I had seen on his face all day. I forced myself to stay calm, even though my heart hammered. "The main room is fine, Claudia. Thank you." She nodded quickly and gestured toward the best table in the house, the corner booth with the view of the city skyline. The server who had ignored me suddenly looked like he wanted to disappear into the floor. Mom recovered first. She always did. "Oh, how sweet," she said, her voice dripping with fake warmth. "They must know you from somewhere. Maybe you come here a lot? Do you have a credit card here or something?" I didn't answer. Not yet. I let her keep talking. Let her dig deeper. "Shall we sit?" I said quietly. We settled into the booth. Claudia handed out leather-bound menus, but she placed mine down last, with a small, knowing nod. Mom didn't notice. She was too busy scanning the menu, her lips pursed. "This place is expensive," she announced. "Derek, don't order the steak. Get the chicken." Derek frowned. "But it's Dad's birthday. And we're paying for it, so you'll get what I tell you to get." Mom's eyes flicked to me. "Unless, of course, Sophia is treating us? Since she apparently knows the staff so well." The venom in her voice was familiar. I had grown up drinking it. Dad cleared his throat. "Patricia, let's just enjoy the meal. I'm just saying, Frank, it's interesting that she gets special treatment here. I wonder what kind of arrangement she has." She smiled sweetly at me, but her eyes were cold. "Did you invest a little bit of money here, sweetheart? How ambitious of you." Derek snorted. "Yeah. What did you do? Buy one share?" I took a sip of water.
"Calm. Steady."
"Something like that," I said. The food came, and with it more little jabs. Mom commented on my hair, my dress, the fact that I was still single. Derek bragged about his app, the one that was hemorrhaging money, but he called a startup. Dad ate quietly, his eyes down. I had seen this movie before. I had lived it my whole life. When I was 16, I told them I wanted to work in restaurants. Not as a career, as a dream. I wanted to create spaces where people felt welcomed, where food brought joy. I wanted to build something beautiful. Mom had laughed. Actually laughed. "A waitress? Sophia, you'll be begging us for money in 5 years." Derek had mocked me at school. "My sister wants to serve fries for a living." And Dad? Dad had said nothing. He sat in his chair, reading the paper, pretending he didn't hear. That silence hurt worse than the insults. I started working at a diner after school anyway. I hid my uniform in my backpack. I lied about where I was going. And when Mom found my paycheck tucked in my drawer, everything exploded. I was 19 when she kicked me out. I can still hear the words. "If you want to waste your life, do it somewhere else. Not under my roof." Dad stood in the hallway, hands in his pockets. I looked at him, silently begging him to say something. Anything. He looked away. I packed one suitcase and left that night. I couch surfed for 2 months. I worked 3 jobs, barely sleeping. I scrubbed floors, washed dishes, served tables at a 24-hour diner where the tips were terrible and the customers worse. But I kept going, because deep down, beneath all the shame they piled on me, I knew I was good at this. I knew I had something they couldn't see. Then one night, a man in a white chef's coat sat at my counter. He ordered coffee and watched me work. He didn't say much, but his eyes were kind. When I brought his check, he smiled. "You move like you've been doing this your whole life."
Feels like it, I said.
"I'm Mateo," he said. "I run a kitchen downtown. You ever think about cooking instead of just serving?" That question changed everything. Mateo became the mentor I never had. He was stern but fair. He pushed me hard, harder than anyone ever had. But he also believed in me. "You've got instincts," he told me one night after service. "Most people can follow a recipe, but you understand flavor. You understand people. That's rare." He taught me more than cooking. He taught me management, budgets, leadership. How to run a kitchen when everyone's screaming and the orders are backing up. How to stay calm when the world is on fire. And when he told me he was opening a small bistro and wanted me to invest, I didn't hesitate. I emptied my savings. Every dollar I had scraped together from tips and double shifts.
It was terrifying.
But it was also mine. The bistro was tiny. 10 tables. A kitchen the size of a closet. We barely broke even the first 6 months. Then one night, a food blogger stumbled in, looking for shelter from the rain. She ordered the special. She posted a photo. By morning, we had 50 reservation requests. Within a year, we had a waiting list. Within 2, we opened a second location. Mateo wanted to slow down, focus on quality. But I saw something bigger. I met with investors, pitched expansions, took risks that made my stomach turn. By 25, I was a partner in 4 restaurants. By 28, I was majority owner of Bella Vista, the flagship, the crown jewel. And through it all, my family had no idea. They had stopped calling after I refused to give Derek money for his failing app. That was 2 years ago. Then, out of nowhere, Mom texted, "Miss you, sweetheart. Let's do lunch." I should have known better. But some part of me, the little girl who still wanted her mother's approval, said yes. The lunch was painful. She spent the whole time talking about Derek. How stressed he was. How he just needed one big investor to believe in him. Then she looked at me. "You've done well for yourself, haven't you? Working all those jobs." I stayed vague. "I'm doing okay." "Well, maybe you could help your brother. Family helps family." And there it was. I said no. Politely but firmly. "I don't think that's a good idea, Mom." Her face went cold. The warmth she had faked for an hour vanished like smoke.
Fine.
"I hope you don't regret this, Sophia." She left without paying for her salad. Derek called me that night, drunk and angry. "You think you're better than us? You're nothing. You'll always be nothing." I blocked his number. I thought that would be the end of it. Then, a week later, my phone buzzed. A group text. "Dad's 60th birthday celebration, Saturday, 2 p.m., Bella Vista." My stomach dropped. They had booked my restaurant, and they had no idea it was mine. I called Claudia immediately. "Did a Patricia Rivera make a reservation?" "Yes, party of 4. Should I cancel it?" I paused. An idea formed, cold and clear.
No.
Let it go through. But Claudia? Pretend you don't know me when they arrive. Let them show exactly who they are. She was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "Understood, Miss Rivera." That brought me to today. Sitting across from my mother as she picked apart my life, bit by bit, not knowing she was doing it in my own restaurant. The appetizers came. Mom made a show of cutting her food into tiny pieces, sighing dramatically. "This is good, I suppose. A bit overpriced." Derek nodded. "Yeah, I could get this quality for half the price downtown." Mateo had made that dish himself this morning. It was perfect, and they were too bitter to taste it. Dad finally spoke. "I think it's excellent." Mom shot him a look. "Well, of course you do, Frank. You think everything is excellent. I watched my father shrink. The same way I used to. The waiter brought the wine list. Mom waved it away. We'll just have water. No need to waste money on wine. Claudia appeared at the table. Actually, we have a special vintage today. Complimentary for the table. She poured 4 glasses of red, rich and dark. Mom's eyebrows lifted. Complimentary? Why? Claudia smiled. Manager's discretion. Mom took a sip and made a face. It's very bold. Derek downed his in 3 gulps. I barely touched mine. My mind was racing, waiting for the right moment. Not yet. Let them keep talking. Let them keep showing me exactly who they were. So, Sophia, Mom said, setting down her glass. What have you been doing with yourself? Still working, wherever it is you work. I manage a restaurant, I said. How nice. Which one? A small place. You wouldn't know it.
Derek laughed.
Probably some dive bar. Dad looked at me then. Really looked at me. And for a second I saw something in his eyes. Something like sadness. But he said nothing. The main course arrived. Herb-crusted lamb, roasted vegetables, a red wine reduction that Matteo had perfected over 3 years. It was art on a plate. Mom cut a small piece, chewed slowly, and nodded. It's fine.
Just fine.
My heart cracked a little. Then the check came. The waiter placed the leather folder in front of me. Not Mom. Not Derek.
Me.
Mom's face went pink. Excuse me. I think there's been a mistake. I made the reservation. The waiter looked confused. Yes, ma'am. But Miss Rivera? Miss Rivera? Mom's voice went shrill. What are you talking about? Before he could answer, Claudia appeared again. She leaned down slightly, speaking low but clear. Miss Rivera, the wine distributor, is here. Do you want to do the tasting now or after your guests finish? The table went silent. Derek's fork clattered onto his plate. Mom's face drained of color. Dad sat perfectly still, eyes wide. I took a breath. Steady.
Calm.
I looked at Claudia and smiled. After is fine. Thank you, Claudia. She nodded and walked away. I turned back to the table. 3 faces stared at me like I had just grown a second head. You. Mom's voice was barely a whisper. You work here? No, I said. I own it. The silence was deafening. Around us, the restaurant hummed with conversation, laughter, clinking glasses. But at our table, the world had stopped. Derek found his voice first. Wait, you're the owner? Of this place? Majority owner, I corrected. 51%. His face went red. That's impossible. You were a waitress. I was. Then I became a chef. Then a partner. Then an owner. I kept my voice even. It's been 12 years, Derek. A lot can happen in 12 years. Mom's hands trembled slightly. She clasped them together, trying to hide it. Why didn't you tell us? You never asked. We're your family. You kicked me out when I was 19, I said quietly. You told me I was wasting my life. You laughed at my dream. And when I built it anyway, you didn't notice. You didn't care. Not until you needed something from me. Dad's voice was soft. I knew. Everyone turned to him. Dad's eyes met mine, and they were wet. I've been following you. Online. I saw the article about your first restaurant. The award you won. The expansion. My throat tightened. You never said anything. I know. His voice cracked. I was ashamed. Of how we treated you. Of how I let them treat you. I wanted to reach out so many times, but I didn't know how. I didn't think you'd want to hear from me. Mom's head snapped toward him. You knew? Frank, you knew she was doing this, and you didn't tell me? You wouldn't have cared, Patricia. Unless she could give you something. How dare you? It's true. His voice was stronger now. Firmer. Everything Sophia said is true. We failed her. I failed her. And she built this whole life without us, because we made it clear she wasn't good enough. Derek slammed his hand on the table. This is ridiculous. So, what, you own a restaurant? That doesn't make you better than us. I looked at him. Really looked at him.
No, Derek.
It doesn't. But I didn't humiliate you at your job. I didn't mock your dreams. I didn't ask you for money and then ghost you when you said no. I said no to funding your app because it's a bad investment. Not because I wanted to hurt you. But you called me drunk and told me I was nothing. You said I'd always be nothing. I let that hang in the air. Turns out I'm something. And you're sitting in it. Mom recovered, shifting tactics. Her face softened. She reached across the table, trying to take my hand. Sweetheart, I think there's been a misunderstanding. We've always been proud of you. I pull my hand back. No, you haven't. You were ashamed of me. You wanted me to be someone else. Someone quieter. Someone who did what you said and never questioned it. That's not fair. Fair. I felt the anger rising, hot and bright. You told me I'd be begging you for money. You told me I was wasting my life. You kicked me out and didn't speak to me for 2 years. And when you finally did, it was to ask me to fund Derek's failing business. That's not love, Mom. That's control. Her face went hard. You're being dramatic. We gave you everything. You gave me a roof and food. That's not the same as support. That's not the same as believing in me. Around us, I could feel eyes turning. Other diners were starting to notice. A woman at the next table had her phone out. Mom noticed too. She leaned in, her voice a hiss. You're making a scene? No, I said calmly. You are. This is my restaurant. My space. And I'm allowed to speak my truth in it. Derek pushed back from the table, his chair scraping loudly. This is insane. I'm not sitting here and listening to this. Then leave, I said. He froze. What?
Leave.
You don't have to stay. The door's right there. His face went purple. You can't kick us out. We're paying customers. Actually, you're not. The meal is on the house. Consider it a birthday gift for Dad. But yes, I can absolutely ask you to leave. It's my restaurant. Mom stood up, grabbing her purse. Come on, Frank.
Derek.
We're going. Dad didn't move. Frank. Her voice was sharp. He looked at her, then at me. Slowly, he shook his head.
No.
Excuse me? I said no, Patricia. I'm tired. I'm tired of pretending. I'm tired of letting you bully people. Especially our daughter. She is not.
She is.
And she's done more with her life than we gave her credit for. You can leave if you want. But I'm staying. Mom's mouth opened and closed like a fish. Derek stood frozen, clearly waiting for her to make the decision. Finally, she grabbed her coat.
Fine. Stay.
But don't expect me to forgive this. She stormed out, heels clicking on the marble. Derek followed, but he turned back at the door. This isn't over, Sophia. I didn't respond. I just watched them go. The restaurant was quiet for a moment. Then slowly, a few people started clapping. It was soft at first, then louder. Someone whistled. A woman called out, "Good for you." My face burned, but not from shame this time. From something else. Something that felt like release. Dad was still sitting there, tears running down his cheeks. "I'm so sorry," he whispered. I reached across the table and took his hand. "I know. Can I come back?" he asked. "Not like this. Just to eat. To see you. Just as me, not as part of them." I nodded, my own eyes wet.
Yeah, Dad.
You can come back. The restaurant slowly returned to normal. Conversations resumed. Plates clinked. But I could still feel the energy in the room, the eyes on me. Claudia appeared with a bottle of sparkling water. You okay, boss? I nodded.
Yeah.
I think I am. Dad looked around the restaurant, really seeing it for the first time. This place is beautiful, Sophia. Really beautiful. Thanks. I designed most of it myself. The layout, the colors, the menu. I can tell. It feels like you. We sat in silence for a moment. Then he said, I read every article about you. I saved them all. I have a folder on my computer. Your mother doesn't know. My heart squeezed. Why didn't you say anything? Because I was a coward. Because I didn't want the fight. Because it was easier to stay quiet than to stand up for you. He wiped his eyes. But I see now what that cost. It cost me my daughter. And I don't know if I can ever make that right. You're here now, I said. That's a start. He smiled, sad and small. Can I ask you something? Anything. Can I take you to dinner? Just us. Somewhere else, so you're not working. I want to hear about your life. Really hear it. I'd like that, I said. We finished the meal together, just the two of us. He asked about the business, about Matteo, about how I learned to cook. I told him stories. Some funny, some hard. He listened like he was trying to memorize every word. When we finished, he stood to leave. Thank you for today. I know I didn't deserve it. You didn't, I agreed. But I'm not doing this for what you deserve. I'm doing it because I want to. He hugged me then, tight and long. It was the first time he'd hugged me in years. When he pulled back, his face was blotchy and red. I'm proud of you, Mija. I should have said it a long time ago. I'm so proud. I watched him walk out, shoulders a little straighter than when he'd walked in. Claudia came over as I stood there. That was intense. Yeah, I said. It was. The woman at table 6 recorded the whole thing. She's got like 100,000 followers. It might blow up. I shrugged. Let it. I'm done hiding. And I was. That night, I went home to my small apartment above the restaurant. I poured a glass of wine and sat by the window, watching the city lights. My phone buzzed. Texts from friends who had seen the video. Messages of support. A few from strangers. One from Matteo. Heard what happened. Proud of you, kid. Then one from Derek. I almost deleted it without reading. But curiosity won. You embarrassed us. I hope you're happy. I typed back. I didn't embarrass you. You embarrassed yourself. I just stopped protecting you from the consequences. I blocked him after that.
For real this time.
Mom didn't text. I didn't expect her to. She would see this as a betrayal, not a boundary. And maybe that was okay. Maybe I didn't need her approval anymore. I had built a life. A real one. With my own hands and my own choices. I had people who believed in me. I had work that mattered. I had a future I created. And that was enough. The next morning, the video had gone viral. Woman confronts family at restaurant she owns was trending. The comments were overwhelmingly supportive. People shared their own stories of family rejection, of being underestimated, of proving people wrong. One comment stuck with me. This is what standing up for yourself looks like. She didn't yell. She didn't insult them. She just stopped shrinking herself to make them comfortable. That was it exactly. I got calls from journalists wanting interviews. A producer reached out about a show. It was overwhelming and strange, but also kind of amazing. Matteo called. You're famous now. Try not to let it go to your head. Too late, I joked. I'm demanding a throne in the kitchen. He laughed. I'm serious, though. I'm proud of you. Not for the video. For standing your ground. That takes guts. You taught me that, I said.
No.
You already had it. I just reminded you. I smiled. Thanks, Matteo. Anytime, kid. A week later, I got a text from Dad. Can we do that dinner? Just us. Absolutely. When? How about tonight? If you're free. I was. We met at a small Italian place across town. Nothing fancy. Just good food and quiet booths. He looked nervous when I arrived. I wasn't sure you'd come. I said I would. We ordered. We talked. He told me about his job, his life, the cracks in his marriage that he'd ignored for too long. I told him about my plans to open another location, about the James Beard nomination I'd gotten last month. A nomination? His eyes went wide. Sophia, that's incredible. It's just a nomination.
No.
It's not just anything. That's a huge deal. I smiled. Yeah, it kind of is. We ate slowly, stretching the meal as long as we could. And when the check came, I grabbed it before he could. Sophia, I can pay.
I know you can, Dad. But I want to. On my terms this time.
He nodded, understanding. As we walked out into the cool night air, he stopped on the sidewalk. I want you to know something. I'm leaving your mother. I froze. What? I've been thinking about it for a while. But after the other day, I realized I can't keep living like that. Watching her hurt people. Staying silent. It's killing me. Dad, you don't have to do this because of me. I'm not. I'm doing it because of me. Because I want to be the kind of man my daughter can respect. And right now, I'm not. I hugged him. You're getting there. He held me tight. I'm going to try. I promise. We said goodbye, and I walked home alone. The streets were busy, full of life. I passed other restaurants, saw people laughing through windows, heard music spilling from open doors. This was my world now. Not the one I was born into, but the one I built. And it was beautiful. 2 months later, Bella Vista was busier than ever. The viral video had brought a wave of new customers. We were booked solid for weeks. Dad came by every Thursday. He'd sit at the bar, order the special, and chat with Mateo. They'd become friends. It was strange and wonderful. He moved out of the house, got a small apartment downtown. Mom was furious, but he didn't cave. For the first time in his life, he stood firm. Derek sent one more email. I hope you know you destroyed this family. I didn't respond. Because I didn't destroy anything. I just stopped holding it together. Mom never reached out. I didn't expect her to. Some people can't apologize. Can't admit they were wrong.
And that was okay.
I didn't need her to change for me to move forward.
I had my own life now.
My own path. And it was more than enough. One Thursday, Dad brought someone with him. A woman, younger than Mom, with kind eyes and an easy smile. Sophia, this is Diane. We've been seeing each other for a few weeks. I shook her hand. Nice to meet you. Your father talks about you constantly, she said warmly. I've been dying to try this place. We sat together, the three of us. Diane asked about the food, the business, my life. Real questions. Interested questions. And Dad watched me with this look.
Pride.
Pure, uncomplicated pride. After they left, Claudia came over. Your dad seems happy. Yeah, I said. He really does. You did that, you know. Gave him permission to be himself. I shook my head.
No.
He did that. I just stopped pretending everything was okay. She smiled. Same thing, boss. Maybe it was. That night, I stood in the empty restaurant after closing. The chairs were stacked. The floors gleamed. The kitchen was clean and quiet. I thought about the girl I used to be. The one who believed she wasn't good enough. The one who shrunk herself to fit into spaces that were too small. She was gone now. And in her place was someone stronger. Someone who knew her worth. I thought about my family. About the people who were supposed to love me but didn't know how. About the ones who stayed and the ones who left. And I realized something. I couldn't choose the family I was born into. But I could choose the family I built. Mateo.
Claudia.
The staff who had my back. Dad, slowly finding his way back. These were my people now. I turned off the lights and locked the door behind me. The city stretched out before me, full of possibility, full of life. And for the first time in a long time, I felt like I belonged in it. Not because someone gave me permission, but because I gave it to myself. This time I paid. Not because I had to, but because I could. On my terms.